Action.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. My name is Lexash and I'm on the guns. I'm here. I'm a dancing. Hi everybody. Oh, let it come on. Let it.
Action.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your boy Lexash. Sit down.
We need BTS for this.
Hi everybody, welcome to my. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your boy Lexash. I think I want to say the welcome to my YouTube channel after the intro. Hi everybody, my name is Lexash and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My own YouTube channel. Oh God. If you have not been here before, welcome. A questions tag. A question. How do you pronounce the word question again? Okay, I said question. I actually got it right when I was listening. But this is a question. Oh God, what? This is a questions tag. Yes, so I'm going to be answering all your questions. So let's get right into it before I explain. The first question I'm going to be addressing is by Xander the Stoic. And he says, what budget setup would you recommend for a pro photographer? The problem with this question is that I don't know what the budget is. Like, budget can mean $1 million or $1 million. And either way, I'm sure there's gear that can fit most of that budget. So I'll say buy the best you can get within your financial capabilities, and it should be fine. The second question is by Solomon David, and it says your posing game is distinct. How do you go about it? So, to be honest, if you work with really good models, they might be able to help you out with it. Just show them the mood you're going for. Tell them, explain the concept you're going for. I feel like one thing that photographers need to do more of is communicate with the models. Let them know what you're going for. Let them see, let them be part of the planning, to be honest, from the beginning, and to make things easier for them. So once they know the mood, once they know the vibe, they come through with it and help you to make sure that everything comes smoothly. But yeah, I also read this whole posing guide, perfect posing guide. I can't remember the author, but I'm going to share the Amazon link. I'll probably put it in the description below so that you will see this. You can buy it, try the workbook. It comes to the workbook as well. So you can try the workbook and see how you can use that to improve your posing skills, because you need to, as much as they are good, you also need to communicate with them and let them know what works for what you are going for. You can also use Pinterest. Pinterest is amazing for showing models poses. Yeah, so you can look at that and then show them, and then they do it and then you shoot. That works too. The third question is, do you get nervous sometimes when you have to have a shoot with a new model? And how do you handle this? Alguiniano. And says, do you get nervous sometimes when you have a shoot with a new model, and how do you handle it? So if I'm shooting a new model, so there are two ways to think about it. New model in terms of the person is just starting out their modeling career, or I have never shot the person before. If it's somebody who has never been in front of the camera before, then it is your job as a photographer to make sure the model is comfortable, to make sure the model is in the moment and easy to communicate with you, so that the person is able to give you their best, even though this is the first time they're going to be doing it. So you want to make sure that you're communicating with them. You want to show them the poses that they can be doing, that they can try. Let them know what you want from them. If you are nervous, they will know that you're nervous. Okay, so you don't want to act like you're nervous. You want them to be confident, and you need to show them confidence as well. That said, then on the other hand, if you have a new model that you're just going to be working with for the first time, but the person is probably experienced, I think if it's just having a good rapport with the person, whether the person is new or old, you can generate a good rapport with the person. I don't think you should be nervous, because what happens usually is that the models usually channel or mirrors the energy that the photographer gives them. So whatever energy you give is what you get back. So if you are excited and chill and calm and hyper, they're going to give you hyper and you give you more energy. But if you're very, if you act nervous and you're shy and you're listening reserved, they will probably be wondering what's going on with this person. So you want to give them the energy that you want to receive. Same person actually asked two questions. Praise blessing. Best ways to increase likelihood of well-known photographers with novice models. So I'm guessing you're a novice model and you want to be able to work with big time or professional photographers who are popular. Now it's tricky because the point of photographers doing collaborations and all of these things is to build portfolio, to increase their reach and introduce themselves to new audiences. But as a novice model, you probably cannot give them that. So the best thing for you to do is pay them. But if you cannot afford to pay them, you have to find a way to prefer them value outside of financial value, if that makes any sense. What are the steps to bringing a photo shoot together? So I think the primary thing I think about is, first of all, what story am I trying to tell? What kind of images am I trying to get? So once I have that idea in mind, I already have like a list of models that I like to work with, or people who have reached out to me that I have told that when I have an idea that suits them, I would get back to them. So I have that saved in my IG or screen grab on my phone. So when I have that idea, and I'll say, okay, who's the best person that's going to work with this, and then so I reach out to the person, and then if the person agrees, hopefully they usually do. I reach out to a makeup artist friend of mine. I have some amazing makeup artist friends who are extremely talented. So I reach out to them and then give them the idea, and hopefully they agree as well. Sometimes they give me feedback and we go back and forth on what works best. And then I also reach out to the stylist as well. If I want it to be very homey, or work with the model's clothes, I can reach out. I can tell the model to bring clothes that look like what I'm going for, or I reach out to a stylist to send clothes for me to work with. So yes, when we come together, we have all these discussions, and then when we're ready, we just make it happen. That's usually the case. Another question: what camera do you use, and how long have you been shooting for? So right now I have two cameras. I have the Canon EOS R5, which I actually recently just got, and I also have a Nikon D750, which I have used since 2016. I used that camera up until this year, and only just got the R5 recently. Those are the two cameras I use. The second question was, how long have I been shooting for? So I officially started in 2013, but how do I describe it? I first of all picked up the camera in 2012. That was the first time I actually had any encounter taking pictures with a camera, a DSLR. But I officially point 2013 as my official photography start date, because there were some major things in my life that had to move around for that to start. And so 2013 is when I started. So I would say this 2020 is making it my 8th year of doing photography, and I feel so blessed for how far I have come. Then another question: I would love you to talk about how you grew to find your unique style and the business of photography. So I will push business of photography back because it's a whole other conversation. But I'll start with how I grew to find my style. So thank you for identifying that I have a unique style. I still don't know if I do. I just like to create. I guess what it is that I know what colors I like. I know what themes I like. I know what outfits work for me. So I think the only way to get to that point is by shooting and creating and creating and creating. Like, the more you create, the more your style develops. The more your eyes get accustomed to something that becomes you. And then also be careful not to create to copy other people or to do something that other people have done. What you should do is, okay, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I want it to express itself in my art. So try to keep that in mind whenever you're working. Try to make sure that whatever you're doing is something that really talks about who you are as a creative and who you are as a person. And over time, that your uniqueness will come out in your work. Another person: how do you maintain color across devices from monitor to phone screen? What monitor do you use? So I don't have a special monitor. I use my MacBook, and I find that my MacBook gives me the colors I need, and I've never had to change the colors to different through different devices because of the way I save. So I save in Adobe sRGB. So whatever colors I save it in my MacBook, I didn't have to change anything, any calibration or whatnot. Once I get my colors in camera and I change and I adjust and edit in Lightroom and Photoshop, whatever that looks like comes out great wherever I put it. So I don't use any special monitors. I just use my what's it called? My MacBook. Yeah. How do you consistently book clients? Let me tell you the truth. I do not consistently book clients. I wish I did. I'm looking forward to the time where I have a paid client's work every week. I think one way to do that is which I'm actually trying to practice now is to what's it called, build relationships with brands, because you're more likely to get consistent work from brands that have to put out products every other month or every other year or something like that. So if you have a relationship with those brands, then they will reach out to you whenever they have work to create or not. Next question: your tips on shooting portraits with a wide lens. For my Nikon, I have three lenses: a 35mm 1.4, a 50mm, and a 90mm. Now, best for portraits of the three of them is a 90mm, obviously, but sometimes you have less space to work with. Sometimes the only lenses you have is the 50mm or your 35mm. Let me shock you. Funny enough, most of the shoots I use a 50mm for it. I know there are people who do not like 50mm lenses. However, that's what I use the most of. And the truth is, how I shoot with it, I consider shooting on a landscape mode instead of portrait mode, and then cropping in post. I feel like that kind of gives you the best framing for the face. It does not widen your face too much, especially when you're using your 90mm, your 50mm. It doesn't widen your face too much. It doesn't, contract your face too much there, like a wide lens would normally do. For the 35mm, I don't shoot really close, because when you shoot really close with a wide lens, it distorts the angles of the face. So shoot a bit further away, and then you can crop it in post. Most of the content people create for portraits are usually just for social media or websites. Hardly are you using them for large format prints. So it's okay to actually crop it and like have smaller file sizes. So if you only have a wide angle lens, it's okay to shoot from a distance and then crop it in, and you get the best of your lens. The next question is, what's your process for color grading? So let me start with this. So a lot of people have actually been asking me this question: how do you color grade? Come and teach me color grading. Is that okay? So the first thing I do is make sure that I get my colors right in camera. So when I'm shooting people, I usually specify the kind of colors I want the outfits to be. So if you notice the trend, I usually have either white outfits, black outfits, teal or blue outfits, red or magenta outfits, orange, like very soft colors and retro-ish colors. They're not necessarily too loud, too in your face, just those kind of colors. And from there, when I shoot that, I also I'm careful about learning about complementary colors and complementary colors, opposite colors. Basically, if you have a strong idea of colors, it will help you in your color grading. So after getting it right in the camera with the lighting and with the colors and everything, I also make sure that when I'm using, I put my pictures into Lightroom, where the Lightroom interface flattens the image further, reduces the contrast, makes it basically a very soft, low tone image, so that I can now boost whatever I want to boost in post. So the parts of Lightroom that I use a lot of, the HSL panel and the curves panel, those are where most of my colors come together. I adjust the blues, the greens, the oranges, the reds, depending on what I'm going for. So that's usually my process. So after color grading in Lightroom, and I take it to Photoshop, do my skin retouching. Maybe if I want to change the color of something I don't like, maybe the red is not the tone of red that I'm actually excited to work with, I can use the hue saturation layer in Photoshop. So the process is literally Lightroom, Photoshop, and then Lightroom again. So I have created a lot of presets, so you can go online and check for my presets to see, and then you can use that. When you install the presets, you can check what the editing panel looks like and see how I have moved them to see what I've done. So the presets are available on my website and on Etsy as well. I'm probably going to drop one free one under, just so you can see what I've done, and maybe use that to maybe somebody might be able to use the presets for whatever they want to work with. Next question. How do you balance being a photographer and a songwriter / artist? Thank you so much for this question, Deborah Ogabi. I think because of the level I am at the moment in my photography and in my music, it's still easy to balance both out. I know that sometimes I edit till late in the night, so what I usually do is most of the days for photography, then my early evenings to about 12 in the midnight is for my music, and then after that I come back to the room and do some editing, so by 2 before I go back to bed, and then I wake up by 8 in the morning again, and it goes like that. So I just make sure that I plan everything to the letter. I'm using my calendar, I'm using my to-do lists to make sure that, okay, this is what I have to do today, and I plan for the music and the photography. So that's what works for me. Over time it might change, but that's what it is for now. Somebody asked this question. They said, I've seen a lot of photographers editing portraits in Photoshop, but it's too bad. Why not just use Lightroom? So first of all, Lightroom is limited. Lightroom is amazing for portraits, but it's limited in its capabilities. Like, there's some things you can't do in Lightroom. So Photoshop is super important for those things. For example, changing the backdrop. You cannot change the backdrop in Lightroom. You can only do it in Photoshop. Removing skin blemishes in a very neat and non-destructive way can only be done in Photoshop. Now there are people who cannot do it so well in Photoshop. That is what the problem is, right? Well, it's for them to learn how to do it better, not that they shouldn't use Photoshop. So the right time to get a new camera is when you have maximized the one that you have and you feel like you are ready to buy a new one, because maybe there's something that the new technologies is making available that your current camera doesn't have, and you want to use that to try something new, or you want to use it to revitalize your excitement in creating art. But don't buy just because a new camera came out. Don't buy just because you saw something that somebody's camera did and you want to be able to do it too, something like that. The next question is, what set of lenses do you have in your arsenal, and which do you use most of the time? So I have 3 major lenses. I have my 35mm f1.4 by Sigma Art. Then I have my 50mm f1.4, and on the Canon is f1.8, or on the Nikon is f1.4, and the 90mm Tamron f2.8 macro lens. Now, the one I use the most, I'm not even gonna lie, is the 50mm. On the Canon, I use the 50mm f1.8. On the Nikon, I use the 50mm f1.4. And the reason why I use it the most is because, for me, it just feels natural. First of all, they are usually the smallest types of lenses, and they're usually sharp, and I could just carry it out and use it and not think too much about anything. I don't have to be too far from the subject or too close to the subject. It just feels natural. I'm a good distance away, and I don't need too much space to work with it. So those are the 2 lenses. That's the lens I use the most, my 50mm. I know some people don't really like it, but then I just feel like more at home shooting with a 50mm than most other lenses. How do you sharpen your images? First of all, if you're using a good lens and you're shooting at a good aperture, good what's called shutter speed, most of the time your images are going to be sharp. You can increase the sharpness and the details in Lightroom. They have that feature, or Photoshop. But if you got a sharp image in your camera, it should do okay. You should do okay. I don't really do anything else. I don't really do much else. Just maybe I increase the sharpening slider in Lightroom, and that's it. So somebody asked, can you explain the light setup on Whiskey's syrup photo shoot? Oh, actually, totally. There were 3 setups. They used only 2. One of the setups, the one where he was wearing a red top and bottom, like red shirt, red trousers, I would say 2 light setup, so 2 lights plus natural light. There was 1 light coming from the right side of the camera that was kind of giving a rim light to separate him from the backdrop. Then there was 1 light coming from this other side, which was not as it was not as close to his side as the other one was. It was more to the front, so it could light the front of his face. And then there was a diffuser at the top to kind of reduce the intensity of the sunlight hitting him. So that's how I separated him from the backdrop. Then the other one, the one where he was wearing white, I used just one light through a softbox. It was already getting towards evening, so I wanted to have the skies blue and like the light still separating him from the backdrop. So I kind of lit it and turned the light. I shot into a softbox, a small softbox actually, and turned the light away from him. So the only light hitting was very soft, very diffused, and it created a very soft evening look. At the same time, he was very well lit and it was really sharp. That's how I did that. Please, is there anywhere we can watch your high-end skin retouching? Yes, on my YouTube channel. If you're watching this video now, you can check my other videos. I've put up some retouching videos. I'm going to do more and share how I'm retouching the images that I'll be posting on my page. Yes, so just check my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of videos here, and I'm going to be putting up more as time goes on. So subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. I think that's it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching my video. I think that's it. I'm going to put out this. I'm going to be putting all the questions, so you see all the questions and as I'm answering them. Also, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, share this with other people who want to learn. If you have more questions, please feel free to drop it in the comment section below, and hopefully I'll do another Ask Me Anything video another time. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be sharing more of my BTS behind the scenes videos. I'm going to be sharing more of my reviews. I'm going to be sharing more interviews with other photographers and collaborations with them as well. So if you want to see all of that, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment. Yeah, till next time, it's your boy Lex Ash.